Welcome everybody to episode 7 of Money Life and Gags with Harry and Mark. So, how are you, Harry?
Mark,
how are you going?
I'm doing really well.
Very good to hear. Good to hear.
Looking forward to today's episode.
Yes, you remembered what the ask from the previous episode?
Something about ideas and sex.
Not and sex.
Oh,
just ideas sex.
ideas, sex. Okay.
Now I'm going to explain what idea sex is. So for those that don't really understand what that means.
I don't know what sex is, buddy. Come on.
Well, how does it? Sorry, okay. Then you tell me. So in this concept, we've got ideas and we've got sex. What are we doing?
Are we trying to sell an idea with sex being associated in some form?
No.
Oh, okay. I'll stuff that one up. I'll stuff that one up.
So if you think about sex,
Yeah.
ideas, how they're born, how babies are born, right? So two people coming together. Well,
Yeah.
the idea sex notion is two ideas or two parents coming together, and those parents are current business practices and so forth. So I'm going to give you some examples
Right.
of things that qualify as idea sex and how successful they've been. And then I'm going to talk about one that's potentially coming that I heard about over the weekend for another podcast.
Right.
That has got me really excited, and I'm actually thinking about how do I get involved in that.
Really?
So
Okay.
if you think about, I'm going to give you some examples here. So if I told you to combine smartphones and taxis, what's the global phenomena that those two things came together to create?
Uber.
Correct. If I told you,
Hang on, but what's it got to do with sex?
because Uber is not just a immaculate conception of a new idea. It's effectively using two old school solutions to create a new
Actually,
new
that's a
idea.
good point.
And so they consummate
Yeah.
to make the idea.
Okay.
And that's the sex.
Right, okay.
Consummate.
Yeah, okay. Gotcha now.
So if I
I've
told
gotcha.
you spare rooms and online booking,
Spare rooms. Airbnb.
exactly, massive success. Old school ideas coming together. If I told you DVD rentals and a mail service,
DVD rentals and a mail service. No, that's got me stuffed.
that's how Netflix started.
Oh, okay. Really?
Yes, Netflix started as a mail service and you get movies in your home. It didn't start as a streaming service.
Are you saying to me that they didn't have video stores and they sent what?
No, they had video stores.
Well, and they sent the videos to people's homes?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah, and then you'd send them back. And if you didn't send them back, that's when you paid fees for not sending them back.
Oh, we didn't have that here in Australia.
No, I don't think we did. I think it was in the States.
Oh, and that's how
Have you heard the story about Netflix and I'm sure you grew up in the Blockbuster regime.
Yeah, of
So
course.
So do you know this story?
No.
So Netflix was offered to Blockbuster at a fraction of the value of today, right? And Blockbuster was the number one video retailer, video rental retailer in the country.
Blockbuster is an American company?
Yeah, Blockbuster Video.
Right, okay.
We had them here too,
Yeah,
right?
I remember.
Yeah.
Because we used to go and get our videos from Blockbuster.
Yeah, and so Netflix at the time needed capital and whatnot. I'm not sure who trying to put the two together,
Right.
but Netflix was sent across as an opportunity to Blockbuster, and the board of Blockbuster said, people are never going to stream videos online. They're going to always come to our stores and buy the videos, rent the videos.
How many years ago?
Many, many, many years ago. Today, Blockbuster doesn't exist in I think it may be one or two stores still exist in America, but it doesn't exist in its form that it was then.
Amazing.
And
man.
Netflix is like
Booming. One of the biggest companies in the world.
But that's a sliding doors moment for that company.
Wow, okay.
If I gave you another one, music library and streaming technology.
The Apple Music.
Yeah, that's one. Spotify is the other one. That's big.
Spotify's the biggest one.
Yeah, they're the biggest one. So that's idea sex.
Yeah, you're right. How come we couldn't come up with something like that?
Because we're too busy having sex, not to worry about idea sex.
Oh my goodness! Isn't that amazing? Such a simple thing, and it's come alive.
Yeah, so I started reading about this. Like it really pricked my interest, right? And so then you start thinking about, so what could you bring together? Like
Because in all instances, they've used technology to actually merge both ideas. Well, they have.
The technology has been the enabler,
Yeah.
but the idea just utilises technology. So it didn't have to be a technology play, but
Right.
it ended up being because that's the day we live now, the society we live in now, and it's technology enabled. And so,
Because I think about Airbnb, it's everywhere. In fact, when you travel, you use Airbnb. It's your first call.
yeah.
Amazing.
But it's amazing. Old school ideas coming together, create new world ideas, and that's called idea sex. So
Okay.
it was just a thing I came across.
Okay,
I thought
got
it'd make a really interesting topic.
Okay.
So that brings to the one that it's really got my interest that hasn't taken off yet.
Right.
But there's already a company in the States. And so I'm going to give a plug here now because that's still too many ideas off these guys.
But why should you tell the audience when you can tell me separately and you're not going to actually do it?
Because, well, number one, we're probably too old to do it.
Oh, speak for yourself, buddy. I'm still on the
too
move.
old to do
I'm
it.
still on the move.
You're too old to do it. Number two, it's not an area. Even if we talk about it, I don't think our listeners are the ones that are going to end up doing it. And if they do, then we can all do it together, right? Because we're going to need funding to do this.
Right.
But I listened to a podcast in the States called the All In Podcast. And these are just entrepreneurs that bring different businesses, different ideas, different guests to the podcast, and it's really stimulating conversation. And so I listened to the one like this past weekend, and if I told you what would be the business if you combined food, and this is almost a three-way thing, but you got food, you got cloud services.
Food, cloud services.
Yeah, actually, just go with those two: food and cloud services. What would come to mind for you as the next? That is one, yes. Yeah, good one. What about one that hasn't happened yet? Does any ideas stimulate in your mind when you bring those two things together?
What hasn't happened yet? Well, hang on. You order through your phone to the restaurant that you want in your area, and Uber delivers.
Yeah, that's already there, right?
That's already there. You want to go
one step
further.
It goes deeper into that ecosystem.
Okay, how?
So what this company does, and the company is called Cloud Kitchen.
Right.
Right. And effectively what they've done is, so you got Uber in the ecosystem, as Uber Eats in the ecosystem.
They're the delivering
system. You've got the restaurants themselves.
Yes.
And at the moment, a restaurateur and the chef and the kitchen and whatnot, they slave themselves all day, every day, making meals. And as long as the kitchen's open is when the restaurant's open. If the kitchen's not open, the restaurant's not open.
Yep, makes sense, yep.
This new concept is called Cloud Kitchen. And effectively what they do is they create a centralised, large AI-based, tech-enabled kitchen.
Right.
And so all that happens is in the morning, people go in for the prep, so cutting up. And machinery can do this, but bring the fresh food into the premises, right? So carrots and onions and whatever you're doing. And then through the AI technology and the platform, it has all prescribed the menu that you serve for the day.
So it'll be a different menu every day or be the same?
Whatever you want. It's all customized to what you want, right? Okay. And so this is they call it infrastructure for food and food and retail.
So we have a large warehouse.
So if you go down the track, a restaurant that will no longer have anyone sitting in it, will just have, it's effectively a takeaway outlet.
Yes.
Right? And it's just for ordering and so forth.
On their opening and closing hours.
Under this model, it can be 24/7. That doesn't matter.
Okay, keep going.
Because the store does it. It's more for advertising. You don't actually have to go to the store because all the buying's done online, right?
Right.
And so what this kitchen does is it, and it's I've seen a video of it. It's like think large scale because it's not just covering one restaurant. It's covering a lot of restaurants in one region. And so let's say Harry's. Pasta bar, and he's 15 different type of pastas, and these are all the ingredients. You've got to give it all of that, and then you supply the ingredients. I think they'll probably end up buying the ingredients at a wholesale rate and for everybody, but at the moment you supply the ingredients. And then when I'm on my phone, I order from Harry's Pasta Bar, I want a spaghetti carbonara.
Right.
It goes through to their kitchen. And this robotic AI setup goes and picks the ingredients.
You're joking, and off we go.
Cooks it all, packages it up.
By itself?
AI? All in bowls, all AI driven, in bowls. Packs it all up, puts it in some sort of packaging, and then gets it all the way to, I'm going to call them like post office box concepts.
Storage.
But they're outside for the outside market storage.
Yeah.
And so the delivery guy comes in with the barcode of that order.
Being Uber
Eats.
Or whoever it is,
I think these guys are in America using DoorDash.
Okay,
but there's no restrictions on who you can use. Yeah. And then with that barcode, it opens the door and they get the hot meal. They put it in their satchel and away they go to the person's home.
Okay. Wow.
And so you don't need to set up a kitchen. You don't need the restaurant. You can be a national brand with a great food concept. and build your brand that way through social media and so forth. So it's just transforming the whole restaurant concept.
So these robotics are already in place?
Yes, in America there's a number of locations where they've already set this up. It's been it's got VC funding behind it. Like it's a big operation. It's not a Mickey Mouse thing.
Right.
I haven't found anywhere here that's doing that. But their research, so a lot of this is research based, and their research is over years. What does 50 years look like? What does 25 years look like, and so forth. Their business plan is at some point people don't want to cook at home. So they just get takeout, and they don't want to travel. They're getting more and more lazy. They don't want to go out to get this takeout.
Jeez, I find that sad.
And so this service is enabling restaurateurs to not have all the costs of an infrastructure and all sort of stuff. Just create a brand online, effectively, create good food, and it's a lot of it's through your menu. The meals you create. Like the robotics, I'm not sure your carbonara is going to be any different to my carbonara unless the ingredients are something different. And you can put the portions, this much of this much of this. So that can vary the taste. But I just found it fascinating.
So really, in this business model, it's the robotics that's going to make this into a profitable business, because if it wasn't for the robotics, we would need to have employees to do the same role as what they currently do at restaurants.
Exactly.
And therefore their margins would be quite high.
Yes.
Fascinating. 24/7, eh? Well, of course.
But it's only restricted by the hours of the restaurant. So they don't want to be, in their current business model, is they're not looking to be the restaurant themselves. So you don't go to these people and order meals. Okay. You don't go to Cloud Kitchen. You can go to the Cloud Kitchen website. You can't order meals there. Okay. They sit behind the curtain, and so they work for the restaurateur.
So, not that I want to go on to a different angle, because I've noticed that not too many people cook at home. Why? I'm not laziness. I understand that.
I think it's lifestyle as well. Like if you think, without being feminist and whatnot, in a lot of households, unfortunately it's the women that do most of the cooking.
Okay.
As a majority, especially me growing up in a European family.
I'm not too sure if that's the case today, though.
Maybe not.
I don't think that's the case today.
But I think they're more interested in lifestyle than they are slaving behind the kitchen. I'm not saying I necessarily agree that everyone's going to go that way, right? I think people still like home cooked meals. But if 50% of the people don't, and the other 50%, and the other 50%, and the other 50%, maybe once a week they'll do it, or twice a week they'll do it, and they'll still cook, and because bringing up kids is hard, kids' sports hard, lifestyle, whatever. I can really see something like this working and working big time.
I can see how it can work.
And same as people build an online profile, like we're trying to build a podcast profile. No one sees us outside of this screen.
Yes.
And we're building a profile, and hopefully we get a following and whatnot. Yeah. What's to stop an online restaurant doing that? It doesn't have to have bricks and mortar. And as soon as you do that, your margins are skinny.
Yeah, you're gone.
Like you'd have the setup costs are very small.
Let's go back 15 to 20 years, right?
Yeah.
Because, again, I don't want to go in a different tangent, but 20 years ago when Uber wasn't around,
yes,
when Uber Eats wasn't around, there was pizza delivery. That's what I can remember.
We talked about that. That is my favourite job.
No, I know. No, we won't go there. But if you wanted to go out with your family, you all went to the car, you went to the destination, you spent some time with your kids and with your wife, you had something to eat, and you come back home.
Yes.
It was more of an outing.
Yes.
Would you agree?
Yes.
Today, we have Uber Eats. No one can be bothered to get in the car. No one can be bothered to go to a destination. And therefore, we're still sitting at home. It feels as if we're prisoners. It actually feels as if, because we're doing it to ourselves.
It's self-inflicted. I don't know if prisoners is the right word. It's just convenience. So if you want to go out, you go out for the reasons you want to go out, not because you have to go and eat.
But can you see why restaurants are dying?
Yeah. The convenience is killing a lot of these things, right? But then when you go to restaurants, like I feel sorry for those restaurants because the wages are high.
They are.
And then the food becomes expensive. So it's actually cheaper to buy it online and not go somewhere.
Yes,
than it is to go somewhere because you end up getting a dessert or you buy a bottle of wine or you get extra things that you don't do when you buy online. And so it's tough.
It is tough.
It's tough.
But it's no different. Again, I don't want to go on a different road. I usually tell my kids when I was growing up, all the parks were filled on the street. Do you remember when we used to play cricket, footy? Do you see any kids doing that now? They're all
Not in the street, no.
No.
They're all on screens.
they're on screens, and this is no
It's just a different generation.
But that iCloud kitchen, I can see how it would work.
Yeah, I can
because
really
we're going to get lazier and lazier. There's no doubt about that.
But at the moment, they're working with existing restaurants to do this.
Right.
But I can actually see a day where it's just an online restaurant.
Yes.
So you can't actually go to the restaurant. You're just dealing with a cloud-based restaurant. So you associate a quality chef with that.
Yes.
And, a bit like, I don't know, you know, it's, I can't remember, Moran, what's his first name?
Oh, the famous chef.
Moran?
Yeah.
Stephen Moran, I think it's Stephen Moran.
Yeah.
Whatever his name is, right?
Yeah.
I think he does Qantas meals, for example.
Oh, right, yeah.
But he's not doing no Qantas meals. He just does the ingredients. Someone else cooks it. It's an industrial kitchen, and away it goes.
Yes.
Same concept. And so you don't no infrastructure required.
Robotics are going to be huge.
Yeah. So you're combining your robotics, AI. You're using cloud enabled technology with old school food prep.
Wow.
So I love those kinds of ideas. So short notice here, but we should just brainstorm, silly ideas that who knows what could come out of that.
It's almost as if any idea that you come up with, technology has to be involved so we can short circuit everything.
Tech enable it, yeah. How do you tech enable it?
Basically, yeah, exactly. Not only enable it, but it's also saving money on wages, because I'd hate to think over the next 10 years how many jobs are going to be lost because of AI.
Some traditional jobs will be lost, but what happens is with technology, you can't just let technology take over everything.
No.
So other jobs. So what happens is the people who reinvent themselves, they'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like factory workers, right?
Yeah.
Many years ago, there was a lot more people working in a factory. Today, there's a combination of people and robotics and machinery and so forth.
Right.
Back in the day, people who wouldn't adapt to change, wouldn't roll with change and whatnot, they were unemployed for a long time because they couldn't move with the times.
Yes.
Where those that embraced, educated themselves, looked into what, okay, how do I capitalise on this situation? They went with the swing.
But that would be a minority, though.
No,
Mark.
it's not.
You don't think so?
No, it's about 70-30, I reckon.
Really?
Yeah, because people have to eat, and so they either go get another job in something else that's not their field, or they understand how they stay in their field because they like it, and how do I get back in there, or how do I stay in there, what do I need to do? And so generally it's embracing the change rather than resisting the change.
Well, if you look at Uber, they've taken over the world. If you look at Airbnb, I think when most people travel, their first option is Airbnb. That's how big Airbnb is. Simple idea, though, yeah?
Yeah, it's amazing.
An amazing...
So I'll tell you another one that I'm potentially getting involved with in one of my companies. And I won't name any of these things, but there's an AI piece of technology to help with the mental health system globally. And this is a human-like person with AI-built intelligence into it that will do an initial consultation with you for mental health assessment. And
as opposed to the doctor doing it?
Well, at the moment...
this is scary shit.
Yeah, at the moment, and it's happening in the States and it's happening here, mental health post-pandemic has been a real big...
Massive, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
And so there's a lot of people that need help, and there's not enough practitioners that can service that help.
That's a fact, yeah.
That need, right?
No, that's a fact.
And so this technology was built out of Israel and one of the large health organisations over there, and it's been used in the military and so forth. And I've tested this product. And so I got this lady on the screen, and she looked like, you can tell it's not a real person, but it's real lifelike, right? And she was talking to me, and the thing understands emotion. So the demos I saw, like I didn't cry on the thing, but I saw other videos where people cried. And instead of just trying to be like a robot, don't worry about that, it started to, I understand this is emotional for you. Take a moment. Would you like a drink of water? It engaged with the person in a human-like manner. And then these consultations are going half an hour, 45 minutes.
Oh, this is bullshit. You're kidding me.
Yeah. And they're done in the person's home, which they're getting better results. So the level of anxiety for someone with mental health to get out of the home, to go visit a clinic or wherever they see that practitioner, the anxiety is heightened, and so it's not good for them. And so they're finding really good benefits that talking to this AI agent in this manner, people are opening up more and sharing more. And so then that video is recorded and given to the practitioner, and then through that assessment. So this program does not make an assessment. All it does is share the information and give some guidance.
Is this FDA approved?
It's going to go through that process.
Right, I would have thought so.
Yeah. So the initial thing is more to as a screener to help the backlog of work of people who need help, and it's a mechanism to help people engage in a manner that they don't normally engage, and the results are showing that they're actually feeling more relaxed because there's no judgment. There's no facial expressions that pass judgment.
And this has been born because we don't have enough practitioners in the area of mental health to cater for those situations.
Yes.
And we're using AI.
Yes.
Jeez,
this is coming. This
is
coming.
So bloody sad.
Is it sad?
No,
or is it good?
Well, let me use an analogy, stupid analogy. Let's send our kids to school. Let's dump all the teachers and let's have robotic learning.
Well, if you went to school with me and some of the teachers I had to deal with, I don't mind that idea. But,
that's probably bad. But it's true. If that's where we're going, that is bloody sad, Mark.
But it's not sad. So you're looking at it the wrong way.
But why am I looking at it the wrong way?
Because
I want to go see my GP.
But you can't get in.
Who
but it's not a GP, right? Your GP you can still go see, right? But your GP is going to refer you. Now, I always get...
My GP is going to refer me. If I have a mental condition, do I have a mental condition? Sometimes I think about
not
that.
Not one that could be diagnosed, no.
And I needed to go see a psychologist. I would assume that the GP would give me a letter of referral and I have to go see a psychologist.
Yes.
Would you agree with that?
And that still happens.
All right, that's what happens.
So
now,
that's not changed.
No, I understand that. We know for a fact now there's not enough psychologists in the marketplace because there's been a lot of trauma.
Demand's up.
Huge demand.
Practitioners haven't changed.
Yeah, so I understand that.
And that's why this is good. So you want to look at a glass half empty concept.
Yeah,
I'm a glass half full concept.
Okay.
There's a lot of people suffering with mental health. This speeds up their recovery.
But you almost make it sound as if AI, did you say it relaxes them?
No, it shows empathy. So it can't force relaxation. It shows empathy. So it doesn't just, it's not a robot that just has its own agenda, so to speak, and just you answer my questions. I don't care how you feel. It engages with you, and your responses it interprets in a manner that shows empathy, understanding, and tries to still keep you engaged, help you understand, try and not coerce, but try and still encourage you to get it out, talk about it, so that's because that's a big step.
And that data is passed on to the practitioner?
It's only passed on to the practitioner. It doesn't go anywhere else. So the practitioner has to embrace this, right? It's like you and I can't just sign up to this thing. So GP refers to the practitioner, to the psychiatrist, and then the psychiatrist gives the option to the person. So look, I can see you in 2 months because I've got so many people. I can see you in 2 months. Or you could do this and that'll tell me very quickly, if I need to fast track you or not.
Right.
So the decision still sits with the practitioner.
I understand.
This system does not make decisions for anybody. It's an enabler, a facilitator.
And that's in play right now?
Yeah. But it's not fully approved yet. But this is something I'm potentially getting involved with, and I just love the human aspect of it, even though it's technology, so it's ironic.
There's no human aspect, Mark.
The human aspect of helping people who need help quicker, because trauma manifests in many ways.
Yes.
And so you might find it weird to talk to a computer screen about your problems, but a lot of people feel comfortable with that, and the body of evidence is showing that it's actually helping because it's getting it off their chest. There's no judgment, and then it goes to the psychiatrist, and then if they have to fast track something, then they'll fast track it. So if someone comes across, I don't know all the algorithm to know if it ticks the box. Are you suicidal? Do you need medication? Do you have your anxiety levels are too high? I don't know those things yet, but the actual conducting a consultation is just going to be huge.
Yes, I can see. don't agree with it, but I can see. Like I said, would you send your children to school and there are no physical teachers there?
It's not the same analogy.
Why? Why?
Because that's not like you're making out that there's no psychiatrists. There are psychiatrists. So the analogy is, do I send my kids to school to do half the day with a robot and half the day with a teacher?
But these are greedy VC companies trying to work out an angle how to make a bloody quick buck, and we're replacing real humans. This is bullshit.
Nah.
No, yes.
I don't agree with you.
Do you know, a lot of my friends are actually teachers. Do you remember COVID? And we were all locked up, and teachers were doing online lessons. And they were with students.
On iPads and whatever.
And iPads. And they've been teaching for 25, 30 years. They've been around for a long time. I can't tell you the results, but from their experience, it was an absolute failure. And this is doing online learning with your teacher on the iPad. What you're indicating, by the way, I understand what you're saying. I can see some merit in it. I'm going to go talk to a bloody robot. Because
but
that's
they
what
do
I'm
it
doing.
today anyway. Like my daughter's doing Italian at the moment.
Yeah.
And she's got an app that helps her learn Italian.
Yeah, I can see the merit.
And she's getting more than she does out of her own teacher.
No, I can see the merit.
So that's like, you want to use a bad example. That's a good example where technology is fast-tracking my daughter's education.
No, that is very good. But replacing
so if you fast-track people's mental health and getting to a better place, how could that not be a good thing?
I would love to see on what criteria does the FDA use to get this over the line.
It's not. It's a.
Or is this a medical device?
Yeah, it's a medical device. So it's not diagnosing. You're not diagnosing, right?
Right?
You can't take the decision away from the psychiatrist. That skill set.
You know what you've just told me?
What?
This thing's going to get passed because it's a medical device.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah. So people will read, this has got FDA approval, but because medical devices are so easy to get over the line, this is going to get approved. Without even understanding, you say that the results are positive thus far. We don't know the consequences if it's going to make it worse.
Well, I don't deal with mental health, so I can't make any calls on any of that. Whether talking or not talking makes things worse or better, I can't say. But what I can say is there's a whole bunch of people that can't see someone, they're in a queue for a long time, and this technology is going to enable that to be fast-tracked, waiting lists to be reduced and whatnot. And so at a very simple level at that, this is a good thing.
See, with iCloud Kitchen, the example that you gave before, I get it. I can actually connect the dots. But when we're involving humans and mental anxiety, I don't know, I guess I have a challenge with that. I know I heard Elon Musk, which is probably the smartest individual on the planet.
What do you mean?
I think, exactly. We're not smarter than Elon Musk, mate. But I think he said, we better be careful how we go about AI because it's bloody dangerous. What you've just described, in my world, that's dangerous. But that's just me. That's just my makeup.
Yeah, I think you're just using a different lens.
Yeah,
and
I am.
And you're probably anti-technology and anti-AI and for these sort of things. Where I'm an embracer. So for me,
I embrace technology
I think this is
where
cracking.
I can see the merit of it, but I don't want to embrace technology where it can replace the human factor. That's just me.
But you're already doing that.
Like these driverless cars, right? I mean, I don't know what your point of view is, right? I'm going to jump into an electric car, all right? I'm going to sit in the passengers. I might as well sleep, buddy, and the car's going to take me to the destination.
Yes.
What a lot of crap.
It's happening now, though.
But I know it is, but what a lot of crap.
Like, well, you know about the company in the States?
we're
I think
becoming
it's
a
called
lazy
Wago. I think it's called Wago.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
They're
They're doing that. Is it Wago? I don't know if I had the right name, but...
Yeah, are they Aussie? There was an Aussie one that was doing it too. But
I don't know if they're Aussie, but they're doing it. And you look at the cars, like they're built like they're going to space or something, but that's happening. That's doing it.
But again, laziness. It all comes down to laziness because all new ideas are born because of convenience. Would you agree?
A lot of new ideas. I wouldn't say every new idea, but a lot of new ideas,
usually you have to embrace technology to make it happen. Now, Are we going to jump into cars that are going to take us from destination A to B without you touching anything? Well, the answer is yes. And I think they've proven it. It's going to be safer. You're not going to be speeding. You're not going to be doing burnouts like what you do, all right? So don't worry about that. So I can see them, but again...
But if there's enough of them around,
it'll happen.
You don't need a car. You don't need insurance.
No, you don't.
You don't have to worry about demerit points and losing your license.
How many times have you lost your license? Can't be honest.
That's for another podcast.
No, just be honest. Don't tell me
Once.
now. Bullshit.
Once.
You've only lost your license once?
Yep.
I've blown it 7 times.
There you go. So you need a driverless car.
Yeah.
But it's just evolution, right? Do I want it? No, I actually like driving a car and,
feeling it.
Yeah, feeling as, zooming in and out of traffic. And I actually enjoy that part of the driving. So I probably would not be a heavy user or something like that. But are there times where hopping in a driverless car where I don't have to worry about anything and I can keep working, I can hold a meeting in the car, I can do whatever I want? Does that appeal to me? Yeah, at some point it does, because sometimes...
No, there's always merit.
There's sometimes... Yeah, multi-skilling like that, or I'm not multi-skilling, but, the task, I don't have to drive, so I can use that time in the car from going A to B, do other things in that time, is appealing to me.
Have you seen the video about robotics building you a house?
I've seen the, not a whole house, I've seen the roof tiles, so there's the roof tiles.
The bricks?
Yeah, the bricks, but I've heard of... this technology where, and it's all prefab homes generally.
Yes.
So it can't, it's not going to do architectural design homes. But yeah, they can do them in a fraction of a cost.
Yes, they can. And especially with what we're suffering.
Do you like that or you don't like that?
Oh, I do like it.
Oh, you like that one? Why do you like that one? That's getting rid of all the tradies.
Because we're getting killed at the moment, people building homes. It's so bloody expensive. So I can see the merit of that. But I can also see if these robotics can go and build a bloody home, well, there go all the bricklayers in one hit, because the labour costs worldwide is so expensive, especially in Australia, Mark. It's sickening of how expensive that the labour costs are.
Yeah. That's a different topic altogether.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. It's our cost of living's high, the labour's high, and it's all self-perpetuating that way. So
and another thing that I found, and it happens to me every year, like my parents are in their 80s, like late 80s, and where was I? I think I was in Prague? Look, I can't remember where I was. I was at this particular airport, no staff.
At the airport?
When I say no staff, there's no one behind the counter, mate, all right? You got to basically get your mobile phone, check in. I mean, they do it now. It's everywhere. You know what went through my head? Imagine if my folks were at this destination. I'm sure there'll be a staff member to come and help you, but it's all automated now. It's all about saving costs.
Yeah.
All right?
The scary thing with that one is what happens if someone's phone is flat? Forgot to charge it and whatnot. You can't get your barcode up.
What if you lose your phone?
Lose your phone, your whole trip stuff.
Yeah.
So that's some of the, they have to have a safety net for that. So, here's my passport, here's who I am. I can't do this part.
Yeah. So technology is definitely... Look, I can see there's a lot of merit with reference to technology. Even in the sporting field today, cricket, everything has to be referred if it's LBW or if it's in
soccer
or football, VAR, you have the line.
It's for better decision making.
Yeah, it is.
Because it's a big industry. Like you think about sport, it's, the gambling side of sport, the prize money of sport, the money that's paid to players and so forth. Making the wrong decision could cost people a lot of money.
True.
And so using technology to make better decisions is a good thing, if assuming it's making decisions better. Now, what you'll find in these technologies, because they're emerging, they're not foolproof.
No, they're not.
Like you look at the VAR, like sometimes there's like head-scratching decisions made on the VAR because it hasn't been refined yet. It's still working towards getting there.
Do you find that we take technology for granted, or we just look at it as part of our everyday lives now?
It's probably the both. I think we do take it for granted because it is part of our everyday life. Like how many people don't have a mobile phone?
Yeah.
Not many.
Interesting.
Not many. How many people don't have remote TVs? You talk about technology and being lazy. Why was the remote? Because it was convenient to sit on your couch, just flick from channel to channel and not have to get up and change it all the time.
I know. let's change tact. Have we got enough time to talk about regrets?
Yes.
We have.
Depends how many regrets you've got.
No, we're not going to talk about it. But do you have any regrets? Forget the financial ones. Because,
no, I talk about life regrets.
Yeah, because the financial ones are easy. You lost a lot of money, you cried for 5 minutes, and you just kept moving on. Okay, done. Next.
Yeah. Do I have life regrets? I'm one of those odd people that doesn't really suffer from regret much and doesn't regret much because everything is happens for a reason, and it's more about what I get out of it. What's my learning, and so if you make a mistake. Sure, I might regret that mistake.
But you move on.
But I'll move on very quickly. I'm a very forward person. I don't have a lot of rearview mirrors and worry about things in the past. But
well, you can't do anything about it anyway.
No, you can't.
No, you can't. That's a fact.
But your question is, do I have regrets? No, I don't have that many regrets that now, if you ask people in my family and network and whatever, they're probably saying, oh, you should have some regrets. You got this, and this. I just don't subscribe to the regret theory. And so, is there anything in my life I would go back and change, knowing now if I knew then what I know now?
But you can't even have that argument now.
I wouldn't change anything.
Yeah, you can't have that argument because you're not going to do anything about it anyway.
Do I regret, spending more years at uni than I should have? No, because I had a cracking time. I loved it.
Yeah, I feel like that too.
Do I regret probably the one thing, if I had one regret, and it's not a regret that it's something I did and it was a mistake, it was what I didn't do. I never did much travelling. And so I'm a very homebody person and grounded here at home I'm an entrepreneur in my mind in the business sense, but in a life sense, I'm very grounded. I like being home all the time. But if I had my time again, especially in my younger years, I would have done more travelling.
Why? Because I didn't do any travelling when I was young either. And I'll tell you why, but I want to listen to why.
For me, I'm living vicariously through my daughter at the moment and her travelling. So I've got an older daughter and she's travelling the globe at the moment and she's backpacking everywhere and just the experiences she's having, I just love for her that she's doing that. She's living her best life.
Right.
And I never did anything like that. And so I look at that and that's, if I had my time again, I would try and fit that into my...
But you can do that now though.
I could, but it's not as easy just to bugger off and do 6 months of travelling, which that's what my daughter's doing.
Right.
Because I've got family, I've got commitments, I've got companies I'm involved with
and
whatnot.
That.
So it's not the same as when you're a single guy or girl and you just travel and carefree.
So here's my point on that. My understanding, and thank God I didn't take this view, a lot of young adults, travelling's a must. Your daughter, my daughter's, my son. It's just a must. Nearly 99.9% of the kids do it. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
Here's their reasoning, and this frustrates me. Actually, this gets me really, really upset.
Okay.
We better do it now because there's no chance we're going to do it later on. Why is that? Because, I'll probably get a full-time job, then I'll probably get married, then I'll probably have kids, and I just have to do it now. I think that's so much bullshit.
I reckon it's what they're not saying in that statement that makes a difference.
Right.
And so when I hear that, when I've got to do it now because I can't do it later, it's a bit like what I just said to you. It's the form of travelling. It's the freedom of just travelling on your own and having fun as compared to travelling with a family and all the burden that comes with that.
Are you saying, hang on, I've done a bit of travelling. Are you saying that you can't have fun with your family?
No, of course I wouldn't say that, but it's different.
It's different. I would bet
I can be, if I'm travelling on my own,
Yeah.
I can be 100% selfish and do whatever I want to do every minute of the
from
day.
that point of view? Oh,
right?
yeah.
Whereas if I'm with my family,
Oh, yeah.
you almost have to be selfless.
Yes.
Because, like you want them to have a good time. And,
Well, that's your priority.
And so I want my kids to have a great experience,
Correct.
a good time. I want my wife to have a great experience, a good time. And so I'm taking that comment from whoever said that to you in that context, that
Right.
if I want to travel, just be selfish, do whatever I want, drink, stay up all night if I want, get drunk every night, whatever I want to do, if I want to do, that's the time to do it.
Right.
Because when you have a family, you have responsibilities. Like you got to take those things a little bit serious. So
of
you
course.
can't. I know there are people that just still go off on the booze and whatever, right? But I'm not that type of person. So for me, family's everything. And so we go together, and that's just a different experience.
It is.
And so I take it in that light. So maybe the comment wasn't meant in that light.
Okay,
but
so your
that's
regret is
that's mine.
travelling.
Yeah.
But at some point in time, when your kids grow up, you can go do whatever you want with Jodie.
with Jodie, but she's the boss. So
Well, I made sure I said with Jodie. I didn't say just you. I said with Jodie.
yeah, so
But,
yes, absolutely, and we will, and we plan to.
Yeah.
But it's still not the same as when I was 20 years old, and I could have just been reckless and do whatever I want.
Okay.
Not the same.
So
What about you? What have you got
with
regrets?
me, in terms of travelling, I didn't travel because I was just so stubborn. I just wanted to make as much money as I could, tick all the boxes, which I wanted.
Yep.
And I had this concept in my head, like most 20-year-olds do, I want to pull the pin at 40 years old. That's
You want to retire at 40
yeah,
years old?
Yeah, at 40 years old. No, it didn't happen at 40, it happened at 50. And then I would just travel. And I do. And it's fantastic. So do I have a regret about traveling? No. The only, which I think I've mentioned in one of my episodes, the only regret that I have, I should have taken more risks. And I should
In
have...
business or in love?
Both.
Okay.
Both. I should have... I was too conservative. I mean, if you go back 25 years, you'd look at my stuff and say, well, but you've taken enough risk. No. I should have taken...
You could have gone harder.
I'm not talking gambling.
No, you could have gone harder.
I could have gone harder.
Or you could have been a national insurance bond seller.
I should have gone harder. I should have been more open-minded. I should have borrowed more money too. I had this mental illness that I couldn't borrow. The banks were willing to give it, but I had this mental illness that if I over-borrowed, it was going to catch up with me. But again, I'm a bit like you. I don't have any really big regrets from that point of view, because I'm finding now I can do whatever I want and I'm happy because I'm still relatively young.
Yeah. So that's good. That's good. So
Amazing.
the fact you don't have too many regrets and I don't, that means we've lived
You
good
just
lives.
got to keep looking forward.
I'm a big believer in that.
You
Just be optimistic.
You just can't look backwards because you're not going to change anything.
And it's also, life's too short.
It is.
Why live in the past? Why be
know.
negative?
True.
Embrace technology, Harry. Embrace AI. It's all coming. You can't stop it.
I know.
And at one point, maybe our holidays will be we press a button and we just automatically telepathically end up
Star
somewhere.
Trek, eh?
Star Trek. So
Okay.
But yeah. So that's the key takeaway for anyone who's listening to this is just look forward.
I agree. And
learn from the past. Don't just ignore anything you can improve on.
don't spend more than 3 seconds in the past. Yeah, you learn and you just
And you dust it off and move on.
So can you just say that subscribe thing before we sign off?
Yeah, so anyone who's listening or watching, really appreciate if you'd subscribe to our podcast.
Even if you don't like us.
Even if you don't like Harry,
Keep subscribing.
Keep subscribing.
And then that other button?
They only subscribe once. They don't have to subscribe every episode.
Of
Once they
course.
do it once, it's done, right? But for the new listeners, they've got to press subscribe.
And that bell.
And then the notification. Yeah, the bell for notifications. Yeah, and really appreciate your support. So I think that brings an end to
It certainly does.
episode 7, is this? I think it was episode 7. So,
AI.
The AI.
AI.
Yes.
All right,
So,
mate.
no worries.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
Bye.
Bye.